Today we are absolutely cooking a real classic. Duck in orange sauce, and no big work in the kitchen. The duck breast is fried in the pan, and we will also make the sauce from it. It's ultra delicious, a classic, and super quick. Welcome to Carla Cooks.
Cut!
Our main actors are female duck breasts. What is Carla talking about again with female duck breasts? Is this another silly kitchen speech? No, it is very important. Female duck breasts usually weigh around 180 to 200 grams. The perfect menu size. If you buy male duck breasts, you quickly get to 260, 280 gray, then you always have to score them. And this way, everyone gets their duck breast directly on the plate. Significantly less work and much, much smarter. For our sauce, we need, surprisingly, oranges. And I have already squeezed the juice from 2 more oranges. This is our best brown poultry stock. Here, different sauce recipes are being displayed. A bit of maple syrup, a bit of cornstarch, and as a spice, like with the goose, a bit of mugwort. You're done. The recipe, as always, is below this video. We start by scoring the duck breast a little because the fat from the skin needs to be rendered out. I think it is really beautiful. No pin feathers, nothing at all. It is simply perfect. And now we take a super sharp knife. This is the slim filleting knife from Heizo. It is nice and thin and very, very sharp. And with that, please only score the skin. Not into the meat, just lightly. Score it. Do you see that? Just make small cuts like that. And when we are done with that, we turn the duck breast over. And let's do it in such a way that small diamonds are formed. And we do this now with both duck breasts, or with 4 or 6, as many guests as you have. So that already looks delicious. Really nice quality. And you can also see how nicely fatty our duck breast is. It will now be seasoned lightly with salt and pepper. On both sides. So, and now very important, we always sear the duck breast on the skin side. The question is, we have our hot Hoffman pan. See here, the small one? How much fat goes in here for frying? Of course, none at all, because we want to achieve exactly that. We want to render the fat from the duck breast. Just place it in like that. Temperature from 9, I lower it to 7. Slowly render the fat. Duck breasts have been in the pan for no more than 30 seconds. And just look at what good duck fat has already rendered out. Let it continue to sizzle like this. I can show you how it looks now. So you see there is still quite a bit that can come out. Let it continue to sizzle. And in the meantime, we'll take care of the oranges. So, from our washed oranges, we take off a bit of zest, not too deep, and we cut the zest into as fine strips as possible. Of course, this works very well with a zester, but for 3 such strips, I use the knife that I had at the start. Since we want to fillet the oranges now, we need to prepare them. Just cut them off and set them aside. And I just cut a little off the top and bottom of our peeled orange. And now with the same knife, the filleting knife, I try to peel the orange as round as possible while leaving as little of the white pith on it as possible. We want to remember the basic shape of an orange afterwards. And this works wonderfully with a sharp knife like this one. You can clearly see the individual segments here. And now we go in with the sharp knife on one side of the segment and the same on the other side. And then I have the orange fillets here without seeds and without skin. And they will really add fun to our sauce later. This is how we fillet an orange. Elements that remain here, we need to squeeze them out because we need the juice as well. So, oranges are ready. And now let's take a look at the duck breasts here. Again, a reminder of all the fat that has formed here. And that should now be reflected in the skin. Yes, take a look at that. So it has already been fried crispy here. Now the other side just needs to be browned a bit as well. And then we will put the duck breasts in the oven. So the other side is also browned. Now we return it to our oven-proof plate, slide it right into the oven. And this fat here is actually a great gift. Just look at what it has produced with 2 duck breasts. And I always collect this fat, put it in the refrigerator. You can then use it, for example, for duck legs. You can see the recipe here, and we will also make a new video for that. And also, fried duck fat and preparing fried potatoes in there. It doesn't get any better than this. We are now putting our duck breasts in the oven. Have set the oven to convection and the temperature to 120 degrees. And I am checking the whole thing with a core thermometer. I insert it nicely into the center. And a little recommendation, we want to fry it until it reaches 59 degrees. Carmen, I'll turn the light on for you. We are doing this until it reaches 59 degrees. We are already at 47. So it's going relatively slowly and gently. And in the pan, we are now making the best orange sauce. In our pan, where we still have the nice roasting residues, we now add maple syrup and let it caramelize just a little bit. It should also take on a bit of color. The bubbling is not caramel yet. Don't get too hurried. Nothing is happening. If you want, you can also add a bit of control, meaning orange liqueur at this point. You're cooking today without alcohol. We are creating the flavor only with fresh orange. And we deglaze everything with our freshly squeezed orange juice. That's about 200 milliliters. And we let the orange juice reduce a bit for it to become a syrup. So now you can already see these huge big bubbles in the pan. That means orange juice has almost completely reduced. We now practically have orange syrup here. That's what we want. And now we add our wonderful poultry stock to it and let it reduce a bit as well, just not as much. And for that, we also add the best spice for poultry and goose dishes in general, which is mugwort, because it helps the stomach digest it more easily. We will let it reduce a bit now and then strain it through a sieve. So our poultry stock with the orange syrup and mugwort has reduced, and we thicken the whole thing with a bit of cornstarch. And with the cornstarch, I always say, please don't add too much at once. If there's too much in it, you'll have to dilute the sauce again, and that harms your result. That's why it's better to work slowly. We already have a slight binding here. It looks quite good. A small drop can still go in so that we have a typical sauce consistency. I think it looks quite good already. It also has a nice shine. So what bothers me here is the mugwort. That's why we're going to strain the whole thing through a sieve. And here next to me, I've set a little bit of water to boil, and we're going to add our zest and briefly cook it. That will happen again shortly. By blanching, we lose many of the bitter substances from the zest, so my sauce won't be too bitter later. As mentioned, we will strain the sauce through a fine sieve. So, that goes quickly. It looks like this. And the sauce goes back into the pan. And now we will also add half of our orange segments into it. The other half will be kept for garnish. And the orange segments here can cook a little. And now the zest comes into play. We will pass it through the same sieve. Look, the water can go, and the zest now goes into our sauce. Then we have everything we want. We have this wonderful orange aroma. We have a nice zest, and it is not terribly bitter, and only enhances the sauce. Let's take care of the duck breast. Our duck breast, a wonderful dish to prepare because once you have seared it, you can put it in the oven when the guests arrive. And the delicious meat juices that are formed here, of course, go into the sauce. So now we will add a bit of our orange sauce as a mirror on our plate. Harmon, isn't your mouth watering? Very much so. So, if this isn't a beautiful dish, now let's listen to the skin. I think that says it all. And now the question is, a duck breast should not be gray, but also not bloody. Perfectly pink. What a beautiful meal. So, we have orange segments in the sauce. The guest also enjoys the fresh orange. It just comes as a garnish now. And I think this is the perfect Christmas meal duck, crispy, juicy, with orange. Wow. Wow. Such a good meal. You have to recreate it, including the dumplings. If you like this, give a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and you'll always have the next recipes. Book. Goodbye, see you soon, your Khaled. You send.